Kings, we hear about a Syrian general named Naaman who has leprosy. And through a little slave girl that they have captured in battle, Naaman learns that there is a prophet in Israel who has healing power. So he comes armed, not with weapons of war, but with silver, gold, and festal garments. Oh, when the prophet Elisha tells him to jump into the Jordan River 7 times, Naaman kind of scoffs. And he says, certainly we have better rivers in Syria than the Jordan River. And he goes away somewhat frustrated. Naaman probably noticed that the Jordan River is not that impressive. Even today, when you go to the Jordan River, it's a little bit anticlimactic. You wonder, how could anybody have even been baptized in this place? In a lot of places, it's nothing more than a muddy stream. And it's definitely not the kind of water you would want to bathe in. But Naaman's assistants tell him, well, why didn't you do what the prophet said? In other words, what have you got to lose here? So Naaman plunges into the muddy waters 7 times, and he is miraculously healed. His skin, we are told, becomes like that of a child. Naaman then comes to faith in the God of Israel as a result of his healing. In the gospel, Jesus mentions this story. He is in his hometown of Nazareth preaching. He knows that no prophet is without honor except in his hometown. So he tells his listeners that God can choose and bless and save anyone he wants, even those outside of Israel. And he mentions Naaman in today's first reading, who was healed by God, even though he was a pagan and a sworn enemy of Israel. And even though there were many other people, Jewish people, Hebrew people with leprosy, none of them were healed, only this foreigner. When the people hear this, they're insulted and they're infuriated, and they try to kill Jesus. So much for his homecoming at Nazareth. Jesus escapes and leaves. Isn't it true that God can heal anyone he wants to heal? Does he heal only people who pray or go to church? No. In fact, when God heals, he doesn't necessarily choose to heal on the basis of one's religion or walk of life. Jesus' comments reveal that God can respond to the prayers or the desires or the hopes of any person. And it often seems that, especially in the scriptures, he chooses to heal those we might think of being not worthy of being healed. Maybe God does this to humble us who expect his favor. Or perhaps God knows that some people who are healed will be truly grateful and will express that gratitude in a way that gives witness to God's glory. We just don't know. During Lent, it is good to remain open to the mysterious ways that God operates. After all, Lent is about God's generosity. He generously gave his Son so that all might be healed of their sins. Now that's the kind of healing we should really be praying for each day, not just for ourselves, but for all people.